You ready? We'll give it a count in. You want to count us in?
Okay. 3, 2, 1, action.
Podcast! We're making one again.
Yeah.
Welcome back for the first time in forever.
For the first time in forever. Sorry, we've been watching Frozen.
So much Frozen.
A lot. Like, I wish Disney Plus had a count for us because
Oh my goodness.
it would be in the triple digits.
Easily. I don't even question that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Boles of Life podcast! Very excited. My name's Tyler. I'm glad you're here.
And I'm Virginia. As we've gone through life, we've learned something important.
That life, like recording a podcast in a very timely manner, is super duper messy, and sometimes it takes you a minute to actually record your podcast.
Right.
There's a lot of armchair experts out there that will tell you should get a couple of episodes ahead on your podcast and try and keep up a solid rhythm so that you don't wait 9 months before you make the next one. But listen, we don't listen to them. They're going to try to tell you how to make life and podcasting simple.
But it's not.
So
You're not going to find any of that here. Instead, you'll find everyday people who have jumped into the mess of life and are making an adventure of it.
did you like my on-the-fly ads into our podcast intro?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely actually did that one on the fly. I had a lot of one-liners I've thought of across the last 9 months of ways to, jump back in, and I can remember none of them.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
hey, seat of your pants. That's the best way to do it.
It is. It's at least the best way to sit down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome back. What have we been up to?
I don't even know.
Oh, okay. Cool. That was a good story. It's good catching up with you guys. Thanks for listening to the Bowls of Life podcast. Be sure to rate and subscribe.
Yep. See you next time.
See you next time.
Well, we've done a lot this year. Specifically, we added a human being to the population.
We did add a human being to the population. He has a name. He's a boy.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about this little baby boy.
Ezra Phoenix, who was born in May.
Hey, just slow down and say his middle name again. It's really cool.
Ezra Phoenix.
Okay, well, you said first and last, but yes, middle name is Phoenix. It's a really cool name. You don't meet a lot of Phoenixes out there. Though I do feel like it's like Luna. Didn't know a lot of Lunas, and then we had a Luna, and now there's a bunch of little short Lunas everywhere.
There's not a bunch, but there's some. Yeah.
There are some.
And then Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also
And
becoming-
Ezra, too.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. So he's here.
He is here.
Those of you who were
Unaware of that.
right.
Most of our listeners probably know that.
Yeah.
But
well,
if
and
you
we
didn't-
talked about it.
Yes. Did we? I don't even remember.
Yeah,
It's-
because we left off on December 24th.
Yeah, but we had recorded some of that stuff early, so I genuinely don't remember if we even mentioned during the last season that you were pregnant or not.
Huh. That's a good point.
Yeah, because we were
Let us
recording
know.
so far in advance and you think we'd go back and listen, but we haven't. I don't want to mess up the numbers of how many people have listened, right?
Right.
Or-
Because we're watching that so closely.
Yes, very closely. Yeah.
Okay. So it is, oh my goodness. It's September.
It is September.
It's actually almost October
Yeah.
at the time of recording this.
Yes.
Like in a few days. And we stopped our last series
Yes, the
in
8
December.
dimensions of wellness.
8 Dimensions of Wellness.
Yes.
In December of last year, so 2021. And the last episode is amazing, but the whole series is amazing.
Yes.
So go ahead and catch up if you haven't already done that.
I mean, honestly, the whole podcast is amazing. You should probably just binge the whole thing across the next 2 or 3 days.
I mean, you could.
You should. Should. Get your
Right.
letters right. Should.
Should. Okay,
Yes.
you should. You shall do that.
Well,
okay.
So why did we miss so much? Did we move and start a whole new life? I mean, I get that we got a new kid in the picture, but we
Yeah.
were pregnant for a lot of that time.
Right.
So why didn't podcasts happen? Did we move?
We didn't move, but we attempted to sell our house.
We did attempt to sell our house. All right, hit the 30-second version of that
I'll
story.
try my best.
Or do I need to tell the 30-second version of that story?
Essentially, Tyler and I have this like desire to live simple and minimally.
Mm-hmm.
And we got this idea in our mind that we wanted to live tiny in an RV
Yeah, we did.
or a camper. And we were going to live at the reservoir where there's lots of fun things to do on the fly, real easy access.
Mm-hmm.
And 30-second story. Okay. So, anyways, we tried to sell our house.
Only to find out 3 days after we had put it on the market.
It wasn't even 3. It was like 48 hours.
Oh, well, there it was. Yeah,
it was less than 72
people
hours.
Had been to view our house. It was pretty booming on Zillow. It was a good listing. It was in the middle of the housing boom, so we were poised to sell it fairly quickly.
Anyways, we find out that the place we were gonna take our camper, that we luckily had not bought yet, was no longer accepting long-term residents.
So after months and months of planning and researching and all of this knowledge about how to live in a camper
with four people, a new baby, a toddler.
We were well aware that we were going to have bring a baby home to an RV. We were fully prepared for that. I say fully prepared. We were prepared.
We were prepared to be unprepared.
Yes. And instead, we still live in the same place.
Yep. So it was a sad day.
It was.
We had to call our realtor and tell her we had to take the house off the market.
Yep. And honestly, that probably did play a factor in us not recording a podcast, because I'm going to be honest and say it took me a minute to get over that.
Sure. Well, we were already like running hard to get to May when our baby was born, but then like now we're planning on moving into a tiny space, so we had all these plans for what that was going to look like. And when that happened, it just kind of crushed our spirits, and so we weren't really wanting to do much there except for just welcome our baby and stay in this house, which we do love.
We do love this house. It's a great house. And so by the time I started finally sitting down and formulating what was going to be next for the Boles of Life podcast, we were pretty close to having a baby. Other things were happening, so we just didn't carve out the time, and then we had a baby, and
here we are 4 months later.
Here we are. So we did not move. We didn't go anywhere. We did have a baby, and that definitely played a factor.
Yeah.
But now you're wondering to yourself, okay, well, they've clearly come back. So what's going to happen next with the Boles of Life podcast?
This is something we've been chewing on for a long time, I feel like. This next series.
Yes.
If you will.
Yes, absolutely.
We don't even have it fully like fleshed out yet.
Who needs to flesh things out?
But we don't do that anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's cool.
Seat of the pants, guys. Come on.
That's
good.
Where you fly. It's fine. Yeah.
So how do you want to
I should have probably written like a 1-sentence line of what it is, but that's okay. We'll go with it. So for a while, I think both of us, but especially me, was on a journey of figuring out like, hey, what's going on with life and the pace and the rhythms, and how does all of this ultimately factor into who I am as a follower of Jesus? And then early in this year, I think it may have been one of the first books I actually read through this year, sat down with John Mark Comer's Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, and it scratched an itch that I had not been able to fully formulate words for.
Right. And it was like very vital into the whole moving into an RV thing too, which is so funny.
It was going along with it.
Right.
But it wasn't the thing that like started that journey.
No. But it was like very much lighting the fire for that desire to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is probably part of what made it hurt so much, is that I'd finally found all the right words, or at least I felt like I had found all the right words, but ultimately didn't get to do that one. But
so, rhythm.
Yes. So figuring out kind of our rhythms of life. So I've kind of broken it down potentially around 9-ish episodes if we don't stick to this exact outline of episodes.
Don't hold us to it.
Yeah. Don't be mad at us. We'll figure out along the way. It will primarily probably be us talking about it, but we may try to invite a few people in.
We have some ideas for
along
some
the
friends.
way. But when we talk about rhythm of life, I want to pose all of these as questions. So the first one is just what's forming you? What's forming you in your life? The next one's what's your greatest asset? What's one of your greatest assets, and also at the same time a great liability in your life? I'm really excited to dig into that one.
Yeah, me too, because using the terms assets and liabilities is
Yes.
not my typical.
No, but
Okay.
I promise it is simultaneously both of those.
Okay.
The next one is your pace of life realistic? How do you find reset and reconnect to God? Um, you're thinking about what is just the way I formed the question of number 5. We'll get into what that one is when we get around to number 5. How do your what do your habits say about you? That's a fun question. How much can you handle? Because we'd say we can handle a lot, and usually when people say, "Hey, can you do this for me?" your response is, "Yeah, sure." But how much can you handle? And wait, what did you say? And because that's the question you constantly have to ask people after they've had an entire conversation with you, and then you look up from your phone.
Or just check back in because your mind went,
That too.
yeah, other places.
And then the last one, can you really be perfect?
Okay.
And the answer is yeah. Oh, wait, no.
I had not looked at these questions until now.
Yes. So I have them listed on our thing differently, but I like the idea of forming them all as questions for this moment so that there's some intrigue into what we are going to talk about.
Right.
Versus just giving you the list of what we're talking about.
Yeah. So I'm curious because I remember the first time you mentioned the word rhythm, but do you remember what it was that started this journey for you?
Oh, it's a mixture of things. And I probably couldn't even point all the way back to some of the original rumblings of it. A lot of it would have to do with some of the podcast people that I listen to. Some of it would just have to do with, again, words that I couldn't have formulated had you asked me to try, but just ways I was feeling in my mind, body, soul, about how life is going, and around things of a mixture of like I'm a tech guy for our church in some ways because I run social and do all our website stuff, and I'm fully on board to do all those things, but simultaneously I recognize, or was coming to recognize and better recognize now, I won't say I fully know, some of the things technology is doing to us. And then another thing is just the constant go of everything in life. And I think I can't even remember who it was, but I remember the podcast. I was weed eating in our driveway, which I hate doing. So that's part of why it stands out in my brain, I'm sure. But I was weed eating, and it was a podcast. I believe it was an unseminary. Rich Birch is the host of that one, and he was talking to someone about how pastors don't know how to Sabbath. And I just remember something about that striking a chord with me and then moving on from it. But it was in there. And so I'd say the mixture of that moment of something about Sabbaths rubbing me and something about technology just kind of left me going, what is it I'm trying to think about and say and do? And so as I continued listening to people talking around those streams, I slowly started formulating a lot of ideas and thoughts, and started more closely following some people and less closely following some others that weren't going in that same direction.
Yeah, I remember it was when we did our New Year's intentions of 2021, I believe, when you started using the word rhythm.
Yep. And so it was pre that even. It was honestly, it was probably like late 2019, early 2020 when some of these very first, I'm talking about micro seeds, were being planted.
So what's another word for rhythm? Because I still feel like that's not as mainstream of a term for
Yep.
everyone.
Yep. So probably the even less mainstream one would be calling this your rule of life, and rule rubs up against us for a lot of reasons that we won't get into in this episode, but might discuss in some future ones. So that's even less mainstream, but the other would probably be calling it like your habits of life, the things you do almost on autopilot. But when we're talking about rhythms and habits and rules, it's more the ones that you set on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into this as we go, but using the word habits, because I feel like that might be more like commonly used for this sake of this conversation. Um, when we think about what our habits are and how they form us, that is where we're going. We want to look at these rhythms that we have in our life, these habits, these rules that we set for ourselves, whether we intentionally mean to or not. And then we're going to ask these questions and just have a lot of conversation around it, because it's something that we are journeying through.
Yes.
And are learning about, and would like to bring you guys in on the journey.
Absolutely. So that's where we're heading. But before we get there, there's a very important question I need to ask you.
Okay.
What's something messy in your life that you're loving?
I'm gonna say this.
Hit it.
Nah, I don't know. I don't know if I should.
Okay.
It's a mom thing. I feel like some moms will understand, but there's still going to be some moms out there that are probably like, gross.
Okay.
But I have a baby and he's breastfed, and his diapers are gross, but they smell good.
They smell good?
Yeah, poopy diapers.
They do not smell good.
Maybe good's not the right
disagree.
word, but it's like, I actually saw somebody post about this recently. She was like, I actually like the smell of poop diapers because it just reminds her of when her kids are little, when her kids are babies. It's like a nostalgic thing, I think.
That's weird, but okay.
I thought I could add some weird.
Yeah, if that's your thing, that's your thing. I'll go for it.
Yeah,
okay.
What about you?
Yep, I was thinking of my answer while you were answering. I think this week specifically, something that is messy is I got got asked to preach this coming Sunday, not last minute, but with a little less heads up than normal. And so it's an added piece to my week, but it's actually weirdly made me operate on a slower soul pace, which is a weird phrasing, I know, because I'm definitely operating very quickly to try and get through my have-tos during the day to then get time to write.
Mm-hmm.
But in the midst of it, I don't feel like my spirit, my soul, whatever phrase you want to use, has been moving fast. It's been chill, and we've been hanging out, as if my soul isn't me. But it's just been able to be present in the moment, oddly. So while it's created a little bit of a chaotic pacing to my day, it's been good. It's been good.
All right.
Hey, it's Tyler and Virginia from a few minutes in the future after we ended our podcast recording. And here's why. I was convinced that a audio message we got from Carrie had not been played on a previous podcast episode.
But it has. And I told him several times. I was pretty sure we had done it already.
Yes.
In his defense, it was a long time ago.
It was. But yes, it was actually on a previous episode. So you go back and listen to previous episodes until you find that one.
Until you find it.
I'm not going to tell you which one so
Carrie,
that you can find it.
Yeah, Carrie, we tried to play your audio again.
Yes. So instead of playing all of that again and having Virginia say really nice things about Carrie, we're going to just skip it and skip straight to a joke that Virginia made at the very end of it. So it's going to feel super out of place, but we thought it was funnier this way. All right, and skip to the future. Or wait, no, we're skipping to the past. We're in the future.
Oh yeah, Back to the Future.
Back to the past. Okay, bye. Is that how you would describe parenting two kids now?
Yeah. What was that reel I just sent you? And he says it was a clip from Harry Potter, and it's Ron when he's reading the divination cup, and he says, "So you're gonna suffer, but you're going to be happy about it." And that's parenting. No, just kidding. Parenting. But yeah, I mean, maybe it is. Well, we love it. So.
We do. We genuinely do love it. We've got two great kids. Luna loves being a big sister. In case we didn't say that earlier, she's a fantastic big sister.
Yeah.
We're big fans of her and him. Well, thank you guys for joining us back on this awesome podcasting journey. A part of you being a part of the journey is doing things like what Carrie just did, and send in your messages to tell us what's messy in your life, whether that is following the link to bolesoflife.com and clicking on the podcast tab to then record it, or you can just send us a message. You can text us, email us, hit us up on the socials, whatever. And then the other thing you can do to let us know that is to drop a rating, or hit us with a rating and drop a review. There we go. Maybe that's what I meant to say. Rating and a review. I know. And you can do that primarily on Apple Podcasts. That's where most of podcast rating happens. Mm-hmm. You can find all the things Boles of Life that are happening at bolesoflife.com. And we're going to be back with you ASAP. We promise, we think, we hope. ASAP.
All right, guys. Have a great week or day or hour, whatever you're feeling. Have a great
day. Bye, guys.